You're now listening to the Palmetto Dugout Show, hosted by State Director Sammy Esposito, Associate Scouts Drew Stewart and Sean Smith, that discuss all things related to amateur baseball in South Carolina. Here are your hosts.
Welcome in episode 87 of the Palmetto Dugout Show. Coach Espo in his car. Coach Smith, what's going on, boys?
The Vanga brothers, we like to party. You know what I mean?
We like to party.
It's a beautiful day here in South Carolina. We like to party.
I'm still at Lawrence. There were so many people here I couldn't get out of the parking lot. I just stayed.
I thought Drew was gonna stay the night in Powdersville the other night as well. So for multiple reasons, but you know.
Long night ended by something we'll get to later. First of all, hold on. Let's start with this. How about the Florence Darlington Technical College Stingers, Coach?
2-0, right, Coach? 2-0.
2-0.
2-0, rolling in Grand Junction out there, representing. You know, I saw one the other night, and obviously we're homers to the great state of South Carolina, as we should be, and the rest of the world should be as well. But you know, I saw one the other day. They beat. I forgot who they played their game one. They won, and somebody said they played Iowa Western, right? Obviously a traditional powerhouse, great program. And they said big upset out in Grand Junction, and I'm thinking to myself, it's only a big upset because people don't know about little old South Carolina, and we just got to let them know. We got to let them know. It might be a big upset to some people out there that don't know nothing, but around these parts, Flodar, baby. Coach P-Mac got the boys rolling out there.
Big time. Let's see if
I bet they don't have a Buc-ee's out there in Iowa Wesleyan.
Well, you know, their school ain't too far from a casino, so I don't know what's.
We don't
have something better than beef jerky.
Them Bucky nuggets. I don't know. Yeah.
It might be a little something better than that. Big time congratulations to the state champions. You'll see them scroll across the bottom here, 1A to 5A. Big time games present. We were there for a few of them, Coach Espo not included, as Austin is still stuck at a state championship game.
I'm still up here in the press box. Got locked in.
You know, it seemed like, obviously, weather and other things that went into the world, it seems like the playoffs this year lasted 6 months. You know, it lasted longer than the season. A team's supposed to play called on a Monday. They don't play until like 3 Wednesdays later, it seems like. It just kept rolling and rolling. And, you know, weather, right? I would say we had good weather all spring as a whole. And then boom, playoffs hit, big shock, right? Let's not have good weather and back it up. And then, you know, why not have controversy every single playoff game to add to more? And I'm going to go ahead and say Austin. I think Austin, for the most part, went to a lot of smooth sailing games in general. Maybe that's just kind of his personality, just kind of easy breezy.
I agree.
But Coach Stewie, he was Mr. Controversy, but I also think that fits his personality to a T. So he's the guy who's always trying to mix. He's the guy who mixes it up and stirs up the fight and bounces. You know,
I think the problem is he went to the same place every day, and it just seemed that it always found that particular place that he was at just about. So maybe you know, I went there. I went there for a playoff game. We had no problems.
Austin, did you know this? Yeah, you might not have known this. We've busted your chops and stuff. We bust Drew's chops every year on going to certain games. Right. He was 8-0 with Powdersville this year. 8-0. He went to 8 games with Powdersville, Coach.
I don't know if me and you went to 8. If you take the tournaments out, I don't think we went to 8 games total, and he went there 8 times.
I don't think their coaches went to 8 of their games.
I know.
He was – the controversy was of him sending players. They got confused because they didn't know who to listen to.
They've replaced the Seneca.
I think he made a couple lineups, but I don't know.
Seneca's out. powder's healing. We'll see what happens next year. I don't know.
Yeah, who's going to be next year?
Easily.
I think you might have.
Easily
I think you ran that course real quick. You got on that bandwagon. They got on your bandwagon.
I mean, you can't go back there. You about got a fight started there. Oh, Sammy cut out.
Sammy cut out. It seems to be the issue is I hop on people's bandwagons, they hop on mine, and then they get knocked out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's the gist here.
Stadium.
Yeah. So if you guys want, in essence, if you guys want to win state championship next year, don't pull for Stewie to pull for you.
Hey, but if you want to win a state championship, make sure you come to the Shipyard Showdown.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Or you want to be in that thing playing for it. I mean, and time out now. We can't let the cat out the bag, but next spring now, watch out, boy.
Got some big time programs.
Whoo, watch out now. I mean, if these things are locked in, but we're gonna have some of the top teams in the state from all over the state, obviously, not just down in the low country or towards the beach or anywhere else, but whew, it's gonna be a strong group next spring.
Best tournament in the state.
Best tournament in the state. So in essence, as you want to play for a championship, come on down.
We'll see you down there. Big show ahead. The final Power 25 rankings are dropping. Classification ranks will come out through the week. But we also have NCAA regional picks coming up. We've already got Blake and Brittle's picks locked in. But before we start that, we'll get to the most controversial play in the nation across the entirety of the high school season, according to 2.5 million viewers. We'll let that play now. Coaches, we've got a 12th inning ball game, tie ball game 4-4, bottom of the 12th, and we get with 2 outs. We get an obstruction call to end the game to send it to game 3 of the state championship. Second time, might I add, that it's happened at this beautiful place. What do we have?
You know, the part that was also terrible too, wasn't there a play in what was it, the first inning? That was a questionable.
Yes. Yeah, we can pull that one up.
Obstruction play.
I can pull that up.
That was an obstruction. That was a possible. That wasn't called. Man, you know what? The whole thing's tough. You know, I had somebody tell me, they go, well, the catcher from the get-go was in the line as soon as he stood up. And you kind of go, okay, so now we're going to go as soon as the guy stands up before there's a play anywhere. We're going to instantly bang an obstruction call on this.
Here's your call right here.
Yeah,
let's run it back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, there we go.
Here we go.
So,
there was your first inning play.
Which was not ruled an obstruction, right?
It was not ruled an obstruction. It was ruled as he was out at the plate.
Let's let umpire head coach Austin Smith go on this rant real quick. Let's let him give his mindset.
That's the first time I've seen the second one that you showed there. I think
you a lie because I texted it to you, Jackrabbit.
You didn't send me the second one. You sent me the first one.
No, I sent you both of them, but it's okay. You're too busy.
I probably didn't watch it, but yeah.
Road to the show.
I think you can just go back and play what I said a couple weeks ago when we talked about the first one. And I also think that we should go ahead and let's not dodge the fact that it's not the important piece here. But I can say this to him because I'm on his good side right now because I picked him to win the tournament and they ended up winning it. we got. I don't. Paget sending some of these guys home. I'm not sure what we're doing here. My man was out by like 35 feet.
It's the
Both
bottom
times.
of the 12, 4-4.
I understand he was ready to go home, and he thought, maybe he thought we'll steal one right here, But I've complimented the mustache and the team. Paget, man, we got to throw up a stop sign every now and then. But no, I think the same thing. I think the rule, from what you read, the rule out of the book last time, like it or not, I guess it's right. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But I think this is just what it says. From what I'm watching, he got it right. It's a bad spot, bad, situation. He's probably going to be out. The catcher could have went and stood in the dugout, and the kid was probably going to be out by the time he got the ball to him. But I think overall, just strictly the wording of the rule, he got it all right.
So, like I can't see right here, but isn't he up? Drew, correct me if I'm wrong. You're there.
Right here.
He's up by the dirt in the grass.
So I think he's about from where the tag was applied. It was 2 to 3 feet from the dirt. So then you got another 4-5 feet to the plate. So you're looking at 7 to 8 feet from the plate at that point on the tag.
Yeah, that's why I'm dogging Paginal sending him home right there.
I think it's a little different than the last video, the Seneca Powdersville one. The play was right at the plate.
Right.
Whereas this one's 8 feet away. Like, I don't see how there can – now, according to the rule, maybe so. And I think the rule is too vague.
The rule's extremely vague.
I think if you're going to see anything happen from this, I think somebody's going to have to – and, this may be the only 2 instances this has happened in the state this year, or in, NFHS or whatever it is, wherever the rule came from. I'm sure this happened somewhere else. It just, they might not have had Drew's video camera locked in on it every time, but the two that we got is, and I think I don't know. I just, for a play like this that's going to happen there in a high school game, there's so many times because, I've coached third in a high school game. Y'all all coached third base. You send that guy home and say, you know what? That sometimes you just send them and say, hey, I'm going to make them make a good throw and make a catch and make a tag. And a lot of times that's easier said than done in a high school game. And, that's why I was messing around about Paget there. But, at that point, you just send that guy and see what happens. But
so here comes the devil's advocate call. What is the catcher supposed to do?
That's why I think the rules needs to be fixed. Where do you want him to go?
So if I'm the catcher, do I stay inside the line and now I catch a tough in-between hop, or do I come way back and catch a very long hop, and then I'm giving up so much space? But then, as we all know, this became a judgment call because, as we just showed earlier in the first inning, where I would have said that one was definitely obstruction as you're blocking from the get, and then your leg stays there. Like that is you're blocking the plate. That's the old school way of blocking the plate. Whereas now, this kid moves up the line to go catch the ball to tag him 5-6 feet from the plate. It's like everybody complains in football where all the rules are put in place for the offense. Like the rule is, I get they're trying to protect players and they don't want anybody to run anybody over and they got to show a lane and you got to do this and you got to do that. But what's the defender supposed to do there? Not catch the ball?
Great question.
And then we just go, oh, man, he missed the ball. We're safe. We won. Well, yeah, I missed the ball because I have to get out of damn position to catch the ball.
And I think both of these scenarios, they were both hits to the outfield, right? We're sending them from second. Is that correct? I wasn't there. I know the first one was. I know this one's the same thing. So I guess technically in that situation, the catcher's got time because he's coming from second. You can move up in front of the plate or whatever. But I'm saying, where does he need to chase that throw further towards the mound, catch it, and then come back and try to tag him? Which he might could have done that here. I don't know. But say it's an infield in play, and like you said, as soon as the ball's hit, you said the catcher's technically he's in the way. So on an infield in play with the guy at third, and he throws it home, the catcher doesn't have time to get I mean, he starts 1.5 feet behind the plate. He don't have time to get all the way up out of the way. So I don't know what they want him to do. So I think the big thing there is that rule's got to be redone because, But I mean that first the second video you showed from, I guess it was the first and the second one, there's still daylight, I guess. That looks more to me like what they're
right there.
The rule is put in place to get rid of that.
100%.
Because that right there is where that guy loses a leg. Yeah, that's the Buster Posey.
Yes.
Like that is the whole reason that rule is in place. The Buster Posey, you get your leg snapped in two right there on that play. That's why it's there.
100%. I thought what the catcher did at the end of the game was standing there and moved himself to go catch the ball, and it happened to be up the line towards the runner. If it would have been to his right and he had taken a step or two to his right and caught it, does he run and go tag the kid, or what does he have to do then? How does that work? Does he have to give him a lane to slide into? But then everybody's like, well, in the major league rule or this, well, no, this is high school rule. It's different than every other rule.
I think that was the biggest thing I saw from a lot of the responses and the complaints was the people saying, he's allowed to go into the line to catch to make a move to catch the ball, and that's what we all thought as well the first time around. Then when you read the rule, that's not what it says. I know in the major leagues and college or whatever, like, no, you can't stand there blocking the plate without the ball, but as soon as the throw basically leaves the guy's hand, if you can say, oh, he's making a play on the ball, it's fine. But it doesn't say that here.
Well,
so
that used to always be the
issue.
tricky one in college, too. They used to always say, in the act of catching the ball. Well, my interpretation of in the act of catching the ball versus your guys, it might be different. So, again, like here, this umpire had two different interpretations of the rule in the same game. You want to call it or not, or somebody's going to argue, somebody's not going to argue. That's where it becomes a problem. And I get there are a lot of calls in baseball that are judgment calls. And it's hard. It's late. It's the 12th inning. It's the second game of the playoff, the state championship game. There's a lot of factors that go into this. So what? It shouldn't matter. If I'm not going to call it in inning one, I shouldn't call it in inning two. Like you were saying last time, Austin, when you were talking about, all of a sudden I'm going to call it this time. If I didn't call the first one that we're showing right here on the screen, I should never have called that second one. But if I call this first one, then we're lighting them all up.
Banging them all.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's the old thing. You hate it when it gets taken out of the player's hands, but also it's a hard job for the umpires. They're in a situation that's not easy for them, and there's a million things coming at them, and they're like the rest of us. We all screw things up. And he made a call, right, wrong, or indifferent in a crucial situation that, and then, somebody goes, wow, that cost him the whole state championship. Well, they still have another game they could have went and played, or maybe some other plays could happen, or this could happen. You never. There's a ton of plays that happen over the course of the time that could have got there, but, take nothing away from Powdersville and, the aggressiveness of old Coach Padgett to send every single player to home. Give him a little credit on that one, but it's hey, it got us almost 3 million views on that thing. So
incredible.
I think we need to get Padgett a T-shirt or something, with a stop sign on it. Maybe
we're going to call him Mr. 3 million because he's getting us all our.
Yep. Maybe that's what he was going for. Maybe he said, "You know what? I'm just going to keep doing this. And maybe this will happen again." Because he saw the response last time. He said, "I'm just going to keep doing it. We'll see what happens."
Just going to take advantage of the rule. Best way to do it.
That I was notorious for getting people thrown out before they even got to the dirt. So I fired myself from coaching third base 1 year. So who cares? Keep waving them, Padgett.
Yeah, keep on keeping on.
Especially if Drew's there, we'll get a good video of it.
I love controversy. So it doesn't matter.
Clearly.
I've been in the 3 most controversial tweets of the year.
Are we going to talk about James Allen and Lawrence at all?
No, because you were there. I just want to talk about the home run. I just want to talk about the home run from it.
I think I would say you could see that thing, but I don't think you can actually see it land. It's way back here behind my head that way.
Did it land in Anderson?
The ball might have disintegrated.
I think there's a taco place over here that I passed called Sparky's Tacos, and I didn't go there, but he hit that thing. I think it landed in Sparky's.
That's a tough.
Yeah,
it's a tough add-on to the taco truck.
Yeah. So,
I mean, we've all three of us have luckily enough had a chance to watch Stowe annihilate a lot of balls, but that was probably obviously the hardest, farthest one, and the most meaningful one.
If we don't have like a special segment picked out, I would like to say, I wish those two teams could have played like a best 4 out of 7 or something like that, spread it out. I know you said the playoffs already lasted 6 weeks, but we could have given them 6 more and just said,
yeah,
y'all play. I want y'all to play 3 games a week for the next 3 weeks or something. Get a best 4 out of 7, because those two teams were. I mean, that was one of the better games I think I've. Even if you watch the first one, I think Blake or Brittle, one of the two, was at the first one, and it ended on a play at second base that was, I mean, down to inches on the guy being out or safe at second. And then you get the game the other night, James Allen's down to their last out, and Kit hits a 2-run single, ties the game up. We go extra innings, and then Stowe hits one back to James Allen. So, I mean, and the ball that I just lost his name.
Dodge Marchand.
Marchand. Sorry. The ball he hit, I didn't have video of it because we were having an issue that night getting videos to send for some reason. Press box didn't do me any favors up there, but the ball he hit was just, I mean, it wasn't a lot short. He just pulled it down the line a little more, but it went a long way as well. So, a great season for both those teams, but that game that night, that's the only one that I saw between the two. But I think for 14, 15 innings, that was as good of a matchup of two teams as you're going to get. So congratulations to both those sides. I know it didn't turn out the way Lawrence wanted it to, but for James Allen, that was and their coaches, they earned that. They players as well. They celebrated accordingly out there. Got a little video of the dog pile there at the end.
As they should.
Like I said, as they should. So good
Fox
for them.
Carolina didn't take his tweet though.
It was a fun game.
Fox Carolina.
Yeah.
News.
We got multiple news stations.
Multiple.
Yeah. Obviously, James Allen. Right? We got a chance to watch them from the get right down there at the Shipyard Showdown. And they were just as impressive game one, and they held it all year long. And I feel like we covered them for 90% of their season. It was all at the very front and the extreme back. We missed the middle 10% of their season, but it was an impressive group that that lineup is, I would tend to say, is deep and as talented as anyone in the state. When you got, speed, you got power, you got guys that can hit for average, and then their pitching staff did it. And then, to have a team like Lawrence that matched up with them blow for blow for every game. I mean, they were just as talented, and obviously both those teams are going to have a lot of guys back. Lawrence, I think Lawrence loses a little bit more than James Allen does, but they still both, return a bunch of guys. So James Allen moving up to the big boys of 5A next year. So we'll see how that one camps out when we get there. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, like a whole year, but we'll figure that one out later.
Here, so.
Yeah, they would have rolled this year too. Might have been a little easier for them this year, but that's a talented group. So big congratulations to James Allen, also to Lawrence for heck of seasons.
It's the time. The final Power 25 is here.
The final count.
We'll break them down by fives until we get to the top 10 here. So
some people
here we go.
We better get some love to it. We're going to hear about it for a calendar year almost.
Well, here we go. You never know.
Yeah, let them light us up.
Here we
You
go.
know what I mean?
25 is Ashley Ridge, the 5A lower state champions. 24, Lucy Beckham. 23, Hilton Head Christian Academy. 22, Fort Mill. 21, Gray Collegiate. And 20, Blythewood. 6 good teams there. We had 2 of these ranked in the preseason top 25.
I mean, we got the 5A runner-up sitting in the 25 spot. That's impressive.
You know, Coach, me and Drew were talking about this earlier today, right? I mean, obviously, runner-up, 2 tight games, Wildcats. Could have went either way, tough games. But, you know, we're kind of looking at it and going full body of work as well. But their last, as I've already said, the 6 weeks of the playoffs were as good as their entire season, get them in there. But, you know, that was a group we saw early on as well down the Shipyard Showdown. And we were high on them then, and they kind of got off to a slow start, but obviously finished strong down the stretch and gave it a big run and a crack at it at the very end there.
Well, 2 close games with Lexington as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were not blown out. Look at here at 19, Coach.
Look at them, boy.
Number
Some
19
of these
is
logos, man. I'm having to dig hard to figure out who some of these teams are.
Number 19 is Daniel, 18 Chapin, 17 West Ashley, 16 West Florence, 15 Southside Christian, the 1A state champs, and 14 Mid Carolina, the 2A state runner-up. Some big schools there. Look at Daniel joining the top 25.
Daniel coming in, they're just holding out all year and then popping in there late. Just got to let them know late. Southside, we were talking about them earlier, right? Southside, if it was and this isn't a knock on anything else, but I think we can all agree, if you put Southside in a 1-game scenario against anybody in the state, it would be hard to pick against Southside. You know, they got arguably one of the most talented arms in any class in our state, but, you know, they obviously got some other talent on the position players. So obviously deserving to be up there and be in the middle of the mix right there. And Mid Carolina kind of ran out of some steam there at the end, but they had just as talented a team as a lot of these groups out there. And Chapin, I mean, heck, from
shins.
breaking shins around here. Hey, we talked about Chapin too, right? I mean, Chapin from the beginning of the year throughout the entire regular season was arguably the best 5A team out, right? They most consistent did it, and they kind of ran into a little bit of buzzsaw, and that's what happens in the playoffs. But they an incredible season they had this year.
Big time. Only 3 on this one. 13 Camden, 12 Blue Ridge, 11 Dorman. Blue Ridge Tigers made it deep again, just couldn't finish. Camden deep run as well as Dorman. So 3 teams that made a deep run into the playoffs that I think we ranked them all in that preseason initial ranking.
Camden, they just find a way to get it done every year, right? Every year. It's, you know, they're down there, they scrap, they claw, they figure it out. And I'm, you know, give Coach Jolly a lot of love, right? We had him on one of our preseason shows, and, you know, you could tell he was the year they had last year lit a fire under them boys, and they had some talent to make a run, and they were kind of back and forth all year. But when it came down to it in the playoffs, they had a chance, and they made a good run into it.
All 3 of those schools were on the high school preview show, Coach.
And I think, I think Blue Ridge is still trying to play that 1 game. I don't know if they finished that one yet.
I think they still got one on the schedule with Union, I believe.
It's a makeup game.
They're waiting for the field to dry out, I think.
Yeah, they're going to play that game next year.
Hey.
Nothing season with them. They're gonna be the first game of the preseason showdown, not for real, but just to play it on turf, just to get it over with.
Yeah, no rain outs in. Something else will happen. You have a sun delay or something.
Boat delay.
Captain Eddie will get it out the way. Number 10, the Somerville Green Wave started out at number 1 on the year. A tough end to the Green Wave season.
Boy, the Green Wave, a wave, I think, the Green Wave, I think, is a perfect name for them. I mean, talk about up and down for the boys. And, right, started off, I think, anyone to start the year, Somerville, lights out. Obviously, arguably one of the best position players in the country, PJ Morlando. Carson Messina on the mound, also hit some home runs with the bat. And another talented deep pitching staff with a new coach that's done nothing but winning his career and back and forth, up and down, played a tough schedule. Then he got it rolling right at the right time in the playoffs at the back end of the year. And, big shot controversy again, ends their season. But, you don't want them to end that way, but they kind of righted the ship. I know that's not what they wanted, but they righted it, I would say, for how they finished the year.
Big year for the Green Wave. Came back, like you said, from down early. Number 8, sneaking in, not really, is your 2A state champs, Oceanside Collegiate. Coach, we've given them some love. Here you go.
Coach, Oceanside's been wanting some love, and we've given them a lot of love. I mean, right? We've had some guys on their team come from the Futures games, and we've had do a lot of stuff, and they're at the Shipyard. We give them love, and they kind of had a little bit up and down when they play some teams. You'd watch them one day. I think we watch them a couple tournaments, and they look like the best team in the country. You watch them another day, and they're arguably one of the worst, but they got it righted in their region, and then rolled through the playoffs and beat a very talented Mid-Carolina team for the championship. So obviously Oceanside got a talented roster, and they'd be in the mix to compete at any level in the state classification.
Got your love. Number 8 here, touchy subject, so I'm not going to say much. Is the Hanahan Hawks.
Now, I'm shocked that you dropped them that far. I mean, it was like they were permanent. They were permanently plugged in like the top 3 from the get-go.
Coach Stewie has been known to jump off a bandwagon and jump off a bandwagon.
I didn't say I was jumping off yet.
It's like he jumped off of it and took the wheels off of it when he jumped. Like, holy cow.
Austin, I didn't know if you knew this. When he was at the championship game, he had set up all his stuff in the Hanahan dugout and then took it all over there and just went in the dog pile with Powdersville. I don't know if you knew that or not, but he jumped right off the bandwagon. As soon as that play happened in the 12th inning, he was out. He knew it was over with.
He bailed. He called me that night and he was flustered to tell me what happened. And I was trying to order a McDouble and he was messing me up. But I could tell there was something wrong. But I didn't realize the magnitude of what had happened. So yeah, I feel bad for those guys because they had a really good year and they were, as close as you can to winning it. They're a very, very good team. Well, I mean, we had them in the championship game at Shipyard. Coaxum had about as good of a year as you can have offensively. Very talented, like you said. Well coached team. They get after it. They do what they're supposed to do. Had a lot of come from behind wins. Had some excitement all throughout the year through the playoffs, and to see it end the way it did, and to see Stewie, who was he was as into that group as you can possibly be. Just completely abandon them is hard to watch.
And abandon them. Still the Stewie Hawks.
I feel bad. I really do for those guys.
Well, yeah, you really hate to take away from what Hanahan did with us talking about Stewie so much because Hanahan, if at the end of the day, right, you can always measure out, some tools on players, on teams, on they have this, they can hit, but the toughness that group had, and was able to battle and scratch and claw and fight through things. It's hard to overcome Stewie sometimes. It really is, and they overcame him for so long, and it finally caught up to him. But big shout out to Hanahan, an incredible year.
Hey, I
Yeah,
will say
I think
this.
one of the
That was,
things-
hold on, also shut up. That
All right, proceed. We'll let you try to get
This is
back
a
on the
positive-
wagon, and they're probably going to kick
No,
you
this
back
is a
off, but
positive
try to
note.
get
Hold
back
on. Hold on. I'm gonna say this. That was the loudest, most engaged fans I've seen at a game this year for both state championships that I went to when State played Powdersville. I will say that. So go ahead, Austin.
So well, let's talk about, we talked about you 8-0 Powdersville when you were at their games. Hanahan, on the flip side of that, you
Not a
were
good
at the
record.
championship game at Shipyard,
They were
and
3-3.
they didn't win. And then you were there for 2 games. I think next year, Hanahan, when I would say if, but when y'all are competing for a championship next year, don't let Stewie come to the game. Keep him off the game.
Yeah, I agree. They want him to come and they want him to get this, but 3-3 versus 8-0. I mean, it speaks for itself.
And you see what he does when you don't. He's a fair. I think fair weather is a good thing to say here. So that's all I got. I'm out.
All right, next team.
And anyway, coming in at number 7 is the Catawba Ridge Copperheads.
Yeah, Catawba Ridge, right? We thought we'd catch a little flack for putting them so high, but I think from a talent standpoint and what they've ultimately did, they ended up playing one of the better teams in the state. But they mix and match with anybody in the state, and arm talent from position players and depth. They got it all. So it's Catawba Ridge. I know it kind of, they had the year last year and they ran into a buzzsaw this year in the playoffs, and we're matched up in a tough one, but they wound up losing late in the playoffs. But they're as talented as they come out there.
Hey, we maybe even might see them early. I don't know.
Oh, whoa! Wait a minute.
We might make the
minute.
drive up to Rock Hill.
Wait a minute now.
Hill, wherever.
Easy now. Let's make
That's
sure we know where
a
they're at.
haul up there. Yeah, it does feel like we hadn't seen them in a while because they lost out in really it was late in the playoffs, but it feels like I think it was like a month ago. But yeah, I mean, Lawrence,
Well, that's
they
what happens
ran
when you play
in, they
6
ran
weeks
into
in
that
playoffs.
Lawrence team, man. That
Yep.
Lawrence team was just rolling, and if they hadn't ran into them, if the seeding would have been differently, what if Lawrence would have had to go up there? Who knows? That was a very good year for those guys, and they'll be back. Like a lot of these teams we've talked about so far, they'll be back.
They will. Now,
Definitely, the school's not closing. They'll be back.
They will field a team next year.
Unlike Birmingham Southern, but it's okay.
We're fairly certain they will field a
get
team.
to the World Series, coach.
I know.
Number 6, it ain't easy.
Whew. Drew tried to put
Finishing
these
in
guys
the-
at number 1 today.
It ain't easy
Unbelievable.
finishing in the top 10.
Unbelievable.
Drew thought they were. Drew tried, fought, scratched, and clawed to put them number 1 this morning.
Okay, everybody take shots at me.
Hey, we Easley's been on the map for a while, and they had a hell of a season, right?
Yeah,
Again, a lot of these teams, talking about Catawba, talking about Easley, you put a lot of these guys in a different classification and different seeding. You never know how it's going to shake out, but very talented group that had a heck of a season that both you guys saw this year. That I remember Austin saw them the first time and rolled away about as impressed as you can come.
I did.
Good
I
comments.
again, another they'll be back too. I mean, I know we joke, hey, yeah, they're going to fill the roster, but so, I mean, it's a well coached team, a lot of talent, a lot of young talent coming out of there too. They're going to lose a little bit, but they'll figure it out. They're a very, very good year. I don't think anybody at the beginning of the season, I don't know if they were in the preseason Power 25 or not. I can't remember that far back. That was like a year ago. I don't even remember, but I don't think anybody thought they would do what they did this year, and then they did. And so good for those guys, Coach Payne. congratulations on that season. Yeah. Next.
Big year for them. Here you go. Number 5 is the 3A state champs, the Powdersville Patriots and the Fighting Paget's, coming in at number 5, finishing in the top 5.
I think we should have drew a mustache on the Patriot guy there. That one Paget was rocking. So we'll a very good year for those guys, and it seemed like there was times there where we kind of counted them out, and they just kept winning. So
yeah, you're right. Every time we kind of thought they were, I don't know, about over, or their run was, they pick it back up.
I mean, Stewie hopped off the wagon, and here they come.
The only time I hopped off the wagon was the state championship game, but I picked them everything else.
I will give Stewie credit on this one. That's the one he hung in there, and he willed them to a win. They didn't realize it, and especially Hanahan really didn't realize it. But 8-0 for the what they call, what did Fowler call you? The Stewie Pats?
Well, here we go. You probably can't see it.
I can't. No, still can't.
There it is.
Look at that. The Stewie Pats.
The Stewie Pats. But obviously a talented group, and you got Landon Fowler, and I know he threw a lot, and Velo kind of dipped a little bit at the end of the year, but a young man with Fowler that you throw him against anybody, they're going to have a chance to win. Whether it's stuff's down a tick or not. I mean, earlier in the season he was up to 94, 95, and he's doing that. Ain't many people hitting him, and he got a good breaking ball, and he's as good as they come. So you got him matched up in there, and got some other talented players around him. Then watch out, the Stewie Pats are rolling.
It was strong Saturday when they needed him.
Yep.
8-0. Now to number 4. The best uniforms in the country. North Myrtle Beach at number 4. Now, y'all can talk about other things other than uniforms. I just want to get that out.
Yeah, North Myrtle. I mean, they're like a lot of these teams, right? Like they got the arms, they got the bats, they got defense, but they ran into the ultimate buzzsaw with James Allen right there, and just the kind of a flip flop of the year before for James Allen and them, but they got 3-4 legit arms. And the one game, Blake was at, Oxendine comes out from behind the plate I'm not going to call it mop up, but to throw some innings late, and he rolls out 86, 89. I mean, you got a guy that's kind of throwing some innings late for it, that's a upper 80s arm coming out of there. And then obviously you got Luke Rope up there throwing, 94 mile an hour sinkers. And then you got Austin Long mid to upper 80s with a plus breaking ball. I mean, that talented group that you put them in any classification. Heck, you put them in any state across the country, they're going to mix in up there at the top.
They'll be legit next year too.
Again, they're going to feel
another
team next year. They'll be back.
They'll be back. Now to number 3 is the Green Boys. Lauren's at 3. They make they progressively went up throughout the year.
I'll let Austin
take
this one.
We've talked about Lawrence a lot from the start, but I mean, we talked about him earlier in the show. Impressive year. Coach Patterson, who friend of the show, had him on. What was that, last week? I guess he was our celebrity guest. Yeah. So just a big year for those guys. What he's built down there the past 7, 8 years, 6, 7 years, how many years he's been there? He's really got that thing going in the right direction, and they were, like I said, if they could have played 7 games in that series, they'd probably still be playing. They had an unbelievable season. They're going to lose a little bit. Just the way they play the game, it's fun to watch. They got some guys that could run it out of the yard. They got some arms on the mound that could run it up. He had a lot of arms. I mean, even just watching the other night as that game went into extra innings, he had already used the lefty. Hudson had already pitched, I think, the first game, and then Goss pitched 4 or 5 innings. Then he starts running more. I mean, Hughes, several other guys, Ledford, they all come. I mean, he got arms coming out left and right down there in the bullpen. So I think, we've said it about, I think every team that's been in the top 10, they'll be back, but we can't take away from, I think I had a guy tell me the other night, they won state in like 1990, 1991, something like that. And he said that this was the best team they'd had since then. I think that's probably an accurate statement, but the number of people that were at that game the other night was wild. I mean, people cheering back for it. Those people came out of the woodworks for that game, and it was cool to see. Yeah, so good year for the Green Boys. Great year for the Green Boys. I know it didn't end out the way they wanted it to end, but nobody will ever be able to take that away from them. Upper state champs, and gave James Allen, who is the best team in the state, gave them as much of a run as anybody did all year. I mean, an extra inning game and a 1-run game. I mean, it don't get. So, yeah, that's all I got.
So before we move to the top 2 here, Austin, you're saying James Allen should be 1, right?
I've said that from the start, though, and y'all didn't listen for a long.
Well, the only
time,
other team left is Lexington.
Ooh.
So James Allen over Lexington, Austin. Is that what you're saying?
For me, yes.
It's interesting.
Just for the full season, yes.
Lexington was 31-7. James Allen
was like 30-3 or something.
21-2.
Why'd they only play 23 games?
You'd have to ask Coach Spivey that.
They played more games than that. You're just looking at the wrong thing. Let me pull up.
I swear Game Changer will tell you 21-2 because that's what I looked at this morning. Unless I misread because Coach Espo.
My game changer for James Allen is 29-3-1.
I didn't update it. So still less wins than Lexington.
Who is going to be number 2? And then once we know who number 2 is, we know who number 1.
Austin might throw his. He's putting his hoodie on, guys. We're going to kick him off of the podcast.
I think Austin just jumped off the. I think he just.
Here we go. Number 2 is the James Allen Lexington Wildcats. And number 2, the 5A state champs at 31-7 on the year. First off, hell of a season from Coach Hooks and the best blast sensor man in the country, and Coach Lever.
Incredible year from those guys. I mean, I don't want to call it a whole rebuild, right? I mean, they had a very talented older group last year that played a bunch of older guys across the infield and had some guys in the pitching mound that moved on off in college, and they replaced them with guys that have been in the program and a couple youngsters that are new to high school. And next thing you notice, you look up, you're right back in it, and winning state championships again. So, big time shout out to Coach Hucks and Coach Lever and staff and the boys of Lexington. And how about this? Let's throw a big shout out. Here's one for you. Will Burgess, senior for Lexington, won a state championship in basketball and baseball this year. How about them apples? Big time shout out.
So, got to do that too.
Yeah, it don't happen too often. So, especially these days where people only play like one sport now. But big time shout out to those guys where they had, they had a barn burner. I think Burton threw a shutout game 1 and they won 1-0 in that one. So they had some tight ones with Ashley Ridge, but Coach Hucks get the boys ready after a 3-week delay waiting on the appeal process to go through and had them ready to roll. And Coach Lever was removing blast sensors while he was calling in pitches.
I think that might be the more impressive thing for them is that they kind of in a back-ended way had to go through all of the other stuff that was going on last week, and they really had nothing to do with it other than they just wanted to know who they were going to play and when they got to play them.
Mm-hmm.
And to go through that and still come out, Lever had the boys ready to go on the bump. But I remember at the Shipyard, beginning of the year, we had him, and it might even have been at Clemson that day when it was -6 and windy, and me and him were out there trying to get the 60 ran in the tundra. And I asked him how the Wildcats were going to be, and he kind of gave me the usual, most every coach says, we're going to be young, we'll be good in a couple of years. That's the go-to move. And he looked at me, he said, I have no idea. I don't know if we're going to be good or not. We'll see. So
it's a good answer.
It was, and I will say, Lever, turns out y'all are pretty good. So
we did see.
Yeah, we'll see. And we saw. So, yeah, good for them.
Now, everyone knows by now the number one team in the
Seneca.
24. Yeah, it's Seneca / Powdersville / Hanahan. The number one team to end the Power 25 season, the James Island Trojans. Incredible season from Coach Spivey and his team.
I mean, I think we've talked about them like 16 times already in this show. I mean, it's from the get to the end. I mean, they were in the mix there at the very end last year and didn't come out of it, but they came in with a purpose and just rolled this year, and they were a team on a mission, and they didn't disappoint. And the Island boys got the things rolling, and Austin's been wearing that hoodie for a while now, and he's been on the bandwagon, hadn't jumped off, and didn't ruin anybody's hopes and dreams by getting on the bandwagon.
Now I can watch this thing.
Oh God!
Family over. I again, we like you said, I've talked about it. I think I personally have talked about 30 minutes already today, but I mean, this is unbelievable year for those guys, start to finish, from the Shipyard Showdown all the way to the 4A state championship. I mean, they covered it from Charleston to Lawrence and everywhere in between. Been all the way up and down the coast, the whole works. They've beaten pretty much everybody they've had to play, and a very good year for those guys. That will be, we keep saying they'll be back. They'll be back, but it'd be hard to match what they did this year. I think just Coach Spivey does a great job down there, at one of the best in the state. But that will be incredibly difficult for not just them, anybody to replicate what they did this year.
I told Coach Spivey down there at the scout day we had. I said, we tried to get you a contract extension a couple of weeks ago.
We did.
So,
we did do that.
I said I don't think it worked. I don't know how that works in high school athletics, but obviously a very, very talented group and coaching staff with tons of success. So we guess we'll look forward to watching them at the beginning of the year next year. Well,
yes,
we need to put a plug in for the. We put a plug in for the James Island fans as well. The traveling squad that came to Lawrence the other night was impressive. They brought, the AD and the fans. They brought two charter buses, I believe, of fans up to Lawrence. So impressive turnout for Trojan Nation for the Island boys. So again, great year for those guys. Congratulations. They all have something they'll ever be able to take away from. And that's more than just a Shipyard Peak tournament championship.
Austin, great job.
That's all I got.
That ends our Power 25 rankings and kind of wraps up the high school season. However, Coach, next episode we'll talk about an all-state team. Watch out.
Ooh.
Only one all-state team this year. It'll be the first time PVSC has ever done it. But we'll get to that next episode. Those rankings, classification rankings, will be released throughout the week, so stay tuned to those. Now to our last segment. It is time for NCAA regional picks, where we'll pick a winner of each regional. Now, you will see two regionals on the screen. We will pick one at a time. I will give Brittle and Blake's pick first. We start out in Tallahassee. I don't need to tell you the team names because they're up on the board. Blake and Brittle both go Florida State. What you got, boys?
Who you want to go first, me or Sammy?
You go first, Austin.
I'm going 2 seed on both of these. Give me the Tide.
Coach, I'm going Tide as well. They kind of petered out down the back stretch. They were able to regroup while sitting in the house this past week. That Florida State bullpen scares me. I'm going Tide. Roll Tide, baby.
I've seen the Florida State bullpen firsthand. However, give me the Noles in this one to advance to a super regional. Big year by them. I think they continue it. Now we go to the Norman Regional, where Blake and Brittle have both taken the Dukies to advance out of the regional.
I'm gonna take Duke as well. I like the 2 seed, man. I think this might be the year of the 2 seed.
Also,
this year.
I am going to agree with you on that last thing. I'm thinking the 2 seeds this year are going to be strong, but I got to go with my boy, Coach Todd Butler, over there, assistant coach at Oklahoma. I gotta go Boomer Sooner. So I'm an honorary Oklahoma fan, which usually doesn't bode well for most things because I'm a Wolfpack fan, which like a lot of people around here are Gamecock fans. You don't do too well too often. So I usually pick the team after the fact. But
Coach Espo, I'm staying with you. I'm going with the Boomer Sooner here. I don't think Duke gets it done. They won the ACC championship. That was their max. Watch out for Oral Roberts here. Watch out. Yes, watch out. Now, to the Athens Regional, Blake and Brittle both went with the Dogs.
Make that 3.
Yeah, that was
that 4.
I think the only surprising thing that I saw out of that Athens Regional is that the Dogs were a top 8 seed. I didn't see that coming. That was a shock to me. I thought Oklahoma was going to be 7 and Georgia was going to be 9. Personally.
Possibly.
But
Possibly.
However, give me the Jackets to win the regional with a 3 seed upset.
wow.
Drew Burris hits too many home runs. Big power move here. Now to Coach Espo's regional, we got the Raleigh Regional. Brittle and Blake both take the Cox.
I'm going Wolfpack.
It's kind of a reverse from last year, right? The Wolfies came down here to Columbia. I think the Wolfies were the 3 seed or whatever it was, kind of a reverse. But I'm going. I got to go with my Wolfies, man. Pack.
My heart says Gamecocks because I would like to see a South Carolina Georgia Super Regional, but I think NC State wins it personally. Carolina a good run in the tournament though. A good run down there in Hoover, but I don't know. I think they might have blew their wad down there.
Give me the Wolfies. They're hot late, so they continue that stretch. Now we move to the Clemson Regional. Let's scroll down here. Blake, Brittle, both go Tigers.
This is tough. That's a really tough one there. I'm going Vandy. I thought about Coastal too. But I'm going Vandy.
If the SEC tournament wouldn't have just happened or I didn't pay attention to it, I would have picked Clemson. But watching Vanderbilt play this past week, I don't know, man. I want to pick Vanderbilt, but I'm going to go Clemson. I'm going to go Clemson finally getting out of a regional for the first time in
8 years.
8 years. 10 years, whatever it is, yeah. Clemson Tigers.
That was going to be a lot of fun. I bet somebody out of this trio will be in attendance.
Friday night at 7.
Somebody's going to spend the weekend in the Cajun Cafe.
No, I'll be at Lexington
Breakfast,
on Saturday
lunch,
and Sunday.
And
Wish I was there all weekend. I'm taking the Tigers. I think Coastal beats Vandy. It's Coach Gilmore's last year. Stillwater, we've got Blake and Brittle both going Oklahoma State.
This is going to hurt. What I'm about to say is going to hurt. I'm going Florida.
I'm picking the Pokes. Florida, Oklahoma State.
Although I do like Nebraska as well. Me and Drew saw Nebraska early on.
that was a bad game for us to watch.
Bug infested place.
That was not fun.
Speaking of that place, man, those guys got hosed. I feel bad.
Boy, did they ever get hosed.
Holy cow.
Talking about an absolute sham.
They should be sitting in that 3 spot right there.
100%.
Win, but Florida, you're 28-27. Like, get out of here.
41 wins.
Awful.
That's a scam.
You win the regular season.
That's a scam. Somebody tweet at Kendall Rogers, tell him it's a scam.
Well, I don't think he has any say-so.
He doesn't, but everybody else tweets at him, blames it on him. Why not join the party?
I'm going with the Gators as well to win that regional. We've got the Fayetteville Regional. Blake, Brittle, Arkansas.
Did Blake and Brittle pick the same team every time?
Yes.
We got a few different ones, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm going Woo.
Arkansas.
Oh, sorry, Austin. You go ahead. Yeah, Woo picks Huey.
Yeah.
That one's
I think they cut a good draw there.
Yeah, that one's chalk. Charlottesville Region. Blake goes Mississippi State. Brittle goes Virginia.
Are they okay? Is everything okay over there?
I'm not sure.
That's first time.
I'm going Mississippi State as well.
I'm gonna go Stark Vegas as well. I think they can pitch. I know Virginia. Sorry about that, guys. I know Virginia has tattooed the balls this year, but Mississippi State, they can pitch.
I'm going
Stark Vegas.
Yeah, I think we all went that route. I'm going Mississippi State as well to win that one. Now, Chapel Hill Regional. Interesting here.
Talking about a hose piece.
Blake takes LSU. Brittle takes the Tar Heels.
Man. I wanna just go out on a limb and pick Wofford, but I can't. Give me LSU.
Good. I can't wait for that 1-4 matchup with North Carolina and LIU when they're both in their baby blues. It's gonna look like a scrimmage. Yeah, LSU's hot, man.
They are.
And as we know, even though it's at North Carolina, if those two match up Saturday night, we're going to be calling Baton Rouge, and there's going to be a lot of LSU fans in that place.
Ooh.
And go Tigers.
Garth Brooks special, baby.
I'm going to have to go LSU, man. I think the Tar Heels got I'm not, obviously, as we know, I'm a Woofy, but I think the Tar Heels got hosed with this 2 seed coming to town. But LSU, I think it's like 18 of 22 or 23 they've won, and they've won second most amount of wins or series since a certain time that Tennessee has in the SEC.
Kind of reminds you of when Tennessee got put in the 4 seeds regional last year.
Yeah.
Give me LSU.
Imagine being Wofford, though. Great year. Congratulations. You're a 3 seed in the tournament. Yeah, go get some of the defending champs there.
Go get them, boys. Who cares?
Good luck. Now.
Who cares?
and you might end up in the losers bracket. You can get some North Carolina probably down the road. Good luck.
Sign me up.
Tucson Regional.
Ooh.
Blake went Arizona. Brittle went Dallas Baptist.
I think I'm gonna go country road. Take me home.
Coach.
We're on a country music theme here. Sammy was calling Baton Rouge earlier. I'm going country road. Give me West
Roads
Virginia
as well. I'm going there too.
Whoa.
Country roads take me home.
Going with Dallas Baptist.
Got a lot of diversity in that one.
Does Drew know the singer of Country Roads?
John, God darn it.
Whoa.
I think it's a capital. I think it's a capital of a state. Maybe.
What?
They have an NFL team. I do know that.
Denver. John Denver.
There you go. Oh, boy.
I had the first and I didn't remember the second.
Is that the capital of Colorado? It is, right?
I don't know.
It might be. Doesn't matter. Proceed.
College Station Regional.
Yeah.
This one gets Nope, that's the next
That's a good one, too.
The next one gets
This is a lot of
interesting.
fun.
Blake, Brittle, both A&M.
This one's going to be a lot of fun. I'm taking A&M though. I think they got too much.
I'm with you. I think Louisiana Texas game is gonna. I think that's gonna. I think that'll be
Yes.
whoever walks out of that one, the winner might have a bunch of black eyes and be wounded. But I'm going A&M. I think they'll hit 55 home runs.
Okay, give me A&M. Clean sweep across the board. Santa Barbara Regional. We've got Blake going San Diego. We've got Brittle going Santa Barbara.
I'm gonna branch out here and
I went
take
with
our
something
first
else, too.
4 seed. I'm going Fresno State. Give me the Bulldogs.
So you know what?
Okay,
Why not? I'm just gonna go Oregon.
You know, Fresno
gonna
State's
make-
won this
we're
thing as a
gonna-
4 seed
yeah.
before.
Let's
They've
let
done
Drew double up somebody. I'm going Oregon.
Well, I had already made my pick, and it's on here, so I picked Oregon.
I feel good about that one.
Yeah, this
Just go-
is one of those. I think whoever we pick, we're all going to be right. I feel good about all this.
Somebody's gonna be right.
Good point. Just like somebody's going to have a team.
There you go.
Our last – no, we got two more sections here. The Lexington Regional, Blake, Brittle. I'll just go and tell you my pick. Me, all went Kentucky.
Give me the Sycamores.
Wow, I'm gonna go Kentucky. I'm gonna let them get. I'm thinking they're getting into a super this year.
Big time. The
I do like
Corvallis
that team,
Regional,
but
I went Oregon State. Blake went Oregon State. And Coach Brittle went with the Fighting Brittles in Tulane.
Interesting call for him. I wonder what that. How about that? Did y'all see that game? That was
Yes.
impressive.
Very.
0-2 was it 2 outs, bottom of the 10th. Tank.
Win it.
Sorry, Austin. You can go ahead. You didn't pick, didn't you?
give me the Anteaters.
Ooh. I'm gonna go Oregon State.
I think I've only picked two 1 seeds. I'm gonna step my game up here.
You might be
I got
stepping your game up.
I got one I'm gonna pick here in a second. I do know that. It's gonna hurt too, but I'm gonna do it.
I got a feeling of who it's going to be. Move to the Knoxville Regional. Me, Brittle, Blake, all go Tennessee.
Rocky Top.
Rocky Top.
Good old.
Now I think we got. I saw this on the Twitter machine earlier. We got a really good chance for something that could be fun here in about a week and a half.
And
I'm
I
all
think
for it.
that Super Regional will be a big pick there.
That'll be a
And our
lot of
last
fun.
regional is the Greenville Regional. Me, Blake, and Owen Brittle all went Wake Forest.
I'm going East Carolina.
Nobody's going old Bradley LaCroix at VCU. Nobody's giving old Coach LaCroix any love. Former.
Yeah, I'm giving him no shot.
I'm going Wake Forest. I know East Carolina's got 2 horses at the front of their rotation. We're all assuming Savage is coming back. I think our boy, the guys at the Wake, along with those hitters, it's in that ballpark, they might be able to hit a whole lot of homers there.
Question is, does Burns throw game 1 or game 2?
No matter whichever game he's throwing, he's going to have 18 punch outs. I don't care who it's against.
Very true. The regional picks are locked in. We'll see who pulls away Friday to Monday possible here, and we'll make those super regional picks.
Make sure you post those on the Twitter page so I can remember who I picked.
Yeah, they're already done, so I'll send them to you.
Thanks, man.
We don't have anything else, boys.
Hey, Coach, real quick before we go, because I know obviously I got to kind of roll to go break a hip right here in a little bit if this happens, unfortunately. But we're getting a lot of these shout-outs, a lot of people reaching out, talking about, hey, we're trying to sign up for the Border Battle. Border Battle has been sold out for a couple weeks now. So unless obviously some people fall out and can't make it, or injuries or whatever happens, that's not going to open up. So the other routes, obviously, for us to work your way to get on some of those higher end invite only ones, right? We got Team Carolina trials starting up here in 2 weeks. June 5th, our first one down at the College of Charleston, and then July 2nd here in Columbia at Founders Park. So, I know everybody likes the border battle, but we treat those the Team Carolina trials just the same, and we've had players come to those in the past that have worked their way into those higher end events. So border battle sold out. Those sell out. While I'm saying that, when they sell out, because we do gameplay, right? We do the gameplay when it's all said and done for that. So we can only have so many guys for that. If you're a catcher, we don't want to have 10 catchers on a team and nobody gets any time behind the plate, or you're an infielder or an outfielder or whatever. You're only getting a couple innings in the field. We want to make sure you're getting as many looks as possible, getting as many at bats, many plays in the field. So we got to cut those rosters down as much as we can. The Carolina trials, they'll never sell out because it's showcase format. We're not having to worry about gameplay. But we're fired up. I know high school season just ended, but we're fired up to get rolling with that.
Austin's out. Big time coming now with all these events, Coach. Ready to roll. All starts next week. Tournaments and events. Giddy up. So hey, that's gonna do us for episode 87. From all of us here at Prep Baseball South Carolina, we hope you've had a great Memorial Day and a great rest of your week.